Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Marwell Manor. So, a busy day yesterday, got that harvest on the oat field done. Today it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. We're going to be doing the straw baling that's left over from our oat harvest. Need to hook up to our front loader because we've got some equipment at the store that is waiting for us to go and collect it. We've leased some equipment. We've also purchased a bale spike as well. So we're going to make our way off to go and collect all that stuff. We'll have to do it in a couple of trips because we don't quite have enough don't have enough options on this tractor to transport everything in one go. What I've also done with our money, you can see we're down to 17 grand. I actually plonked some cash into the bank, so we paid off 25 grand of our loan. So if we take a look at our loan finances here, you can see we're down to 575 now. So half of the mandatory 50,000 that we had to pay off has now been paid off. We've still got another 25 to do to clear that, and then anything else we can pay off is a bonus. On top of that, I have also purchased a second pressure washer, as you can see, and we've now got that plonked in here, pretty much where I wanted to put it. So if we are doing any work over here by the cows, then we can immediately kind of clean off straight away, which is kind of handy. It's not an essential purchase, but they're not that expensive, these pressure washers, so I felt we could justify it. On top of that, the cows themselves, you can see, took quite a bit of straw, nearly 3 bales to fill the straw trough up. Not quite 3, but not far off. We're getting closer and closer to our next cow. By the end of the day, we'll have actually bred our first cow, which is kind of cool. Let's make our way over to the store. And as I said, we came out with about just under 144,000 litres of crop yesterday. You can see there, 143,862 litres was the total oat harvest yesterday. So a good old amount there. That's not too bad at all. Actually, I saw we had a great demand pop up. What was that for? That's for sugar beets. And we don't have any sugar beets, so it doesn't really affect us in any way. But off we go over to the dealership. Ever since they notified me that they were going to be partnering up with Anderson Group for their baling equipment next year, I've been doing a lot of research into some of the equipment that they provide, and I have to say I'm really excited by some of the options that they've got there. I do like the look of those extractors, those inline bale wrappers, where you can wrap an entire row of bales. I think the combination of a round bale collector, which can carry multiple bales, because at the moment we can only do 8 with the little Ursus unit that we've got on lease. To be able to do, say, I think it's 24 that we can do with the Anderson Group trailer. That's huge. That's 3 times the capacity. So that's going to make clearing the fields a lot quicker. And I kind of like the idea of just wrapping the grass bales, collecting them up, and then bringing them to the yard and using one of those extractor wrappers to wrap at the yard itself. I think that could be a very interesting way of doing it. We're going to have to do a little bit more research into those, but that's kind of what I'm thinking of for next year, is that we maybe go with a standard round baler and go for, you know, the big bale collector. And then one of the extractor wrappers. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know if that's exactly what we're going to go with next year, but we'll certainly be looking at that. We'll have a really good look at their range when it hits the store next year, which will be pretty exciting. So here's the equipment that we've got ready for collection. So we'll get the front spike, and you can see we're leasing this Arcusin 4-stack here. This will allow us to stack 3 high, and then we can actually deposit those triple stacks all quite close to each other, which will be quite handy for then transferring onto our trailer to take and sell. And then obviously the Kuhn square baler that the store currently supply. We've just leased that one rather than purchase it because, you know, we're going to be looking at switching over to Anderson next year, which means we will probably if we do go with that kind of setup that I was talking about a second ago, we will probably end up getting rid of our current Kuhn baler with auto wrap or IntelliWrap system. We'll probably sell that off. Hopefully another local farmer will find that quite useful and we'll be able to get a decent price for it. We'll see how things shake out, but I want to have a proper inspection of the full range once it becomes available before I make my final decisions. So I've got a rough idea of what I want to go with, but again, it's getting to have a proper look at the full range, and more importantly, finding out how much that's going to cost us as well, because it could end up being quite expensive stuff. So we may end up having to stick with our Kuhn setup a little while longer. But definitely very excited to see what they're going to be unleashing on us. And I am very, very interested in the bio baler as well. I'm wondering whereabouts we could perhaps do some poplar planting and then use that bio baler to collect everything up and make some bales for selling bio bales. That could be quite an interesting sort of expansion of products for us next year. I'm trying to think what part of our land we could possibly allocate for poplars, and maybe we could possibly, because it's such a big field, we could split off part of field 18 possibly and do some poplar on that. Or maybe we could do it on field 19. We could do a small section on 19 that's available for poplar. That's something else we could look at, you know. So we have some choices, we have some options going ahead. Who knows, maybe even this meadow part here, we might use part of that perhaps for poplar. We've got a few different potential locations that we could certainly be looking at. So we're going to get this kind of set up on the edge of field 18. We're going to go off and bale all that straw that we left over. It's not a massive amount, but it's certainly enough to raise a little bit of extra cash, and that's more than going to cover our leasing costs and the purchase of our forks, which was only about £1,000 for the forks, and not too expensive. The baler is going to cost us about £5,000 in leasing, plus any additional hours that we use it for, and the Arcusin 4-stack is going to cost us around about 1,000 or so, just over 1,000 to lease it. So we'll easily make the money back to cover our leasing costs today by selling off those straw bales, and beyond that we could be looking at a nice tasty amount on top of that. We're going to use the 6M just to do our bale stacking, because obviously it's the only one of our tractors that has a front loader option. I have been toying with the idea, if we can afford it as well, of maybe replacing the 6M with a 6R next year. Something that will give us a little bit more grunt. And if we're going to be doing our fertilising very early on, then we're not going to have to worry about needing something with the skinny wheels, which means we won't need the 6M. Whereas we kind of potentially needed it this year. Next year, probably not so much. And having that extra power from a 6R over a 6M would be quite useful, because we can go up to about 280 horsepower, I think, with a 6R, whereas our 6M, we're about 160 horsepower maxed out. So having a more powerful secondary tractor would definitely be quite useful, I think. Right, let's go grab the baler, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so let's lower our collector, unfold the baler, get turned on. Let's see just how many bales that we're looking at getting. Now, we were looking with the straw bales, where we did those first two swaths, we were looking at getting, on average, 6 bales per swath, because we ended up, we did just a fraction over 2 swaths, and we ended up with 12 bales. So it works out at around about 6 bales per swath. Now, some of these are going to be slightly different lengths, so they get fractionally longer as we go down the field in some places, because the field at the other end of us slopes forward to the right, so the further across to the right we go, the further down the field we go, and same at this end as well, at the back end, the further to our right that we go that way, then the further distance we go on each pass that way as well. So while the first few passes might not quite be 6 bales, we should be hitting more, just over 6 bales on the final ones. Be interesting to see if that's actually how it's going to work out or not. Of course, I could be completely wrong on my estimations there. How many bales have we done so far? I haven't actually been paying any attention. We'll probably do a count on the way back, see how many we got. It shouldn't take us too long to bale up this straw either. So let's see, it's 1 there. 2, 3, 4. Plus the bale that we had in the back here, so that would have been 5. And there's probably another one further down the field as well, I think, possibly. So maybe 6, 5 or 6 on the first pass. We did have that little bit missing at the start, don't forget. But as I say, each one of these passes will be getting slightly more straw going through the baler, because each one of these rows is slightly longer at both ends, ever so slightly. Not by much, but it all adds up over the course of the field. So we could end up with quite a nice number of bales. Oh, that was the first one to drop, wasn't it? Because you usually get 2 bales through the baler before it starts pushing them onto the floor. So, yeah, okay, so we got, what, 5 bales made on the first one because we had 1 still on the back of the baler. Alright. I'm trying to see how many rows we've got to do. 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, I can't count. I can't count from there. The angle's not good enough. We've got quite a few rows, so... even with 10 rows, that's 50 bales. I think we're looking at more than that. I would say we're probably looking at around 60 to 70 bales off this field, which will be quite a nice little, little bit of cash. And if we can get 24 bales on the trailer, then that's what, 3 journeys to unload this field. So interesting to see just how much we get per trailer's worth. Not sure what the price for straw bales is going to be like at the moment. Hopefully not too bad. Hopefully we'll make a little bit of extra cash. And as I say, as long as we can cover the leasing costs and make a little bit of extra cash, then that's all I'm really looking for. I'm not looking to make a fortune doing this. If I wanted to make a ton of money, then we would have swathed the entire field, but it would have taken us the entire day to do, and I would like to try and get started on the second cut today if I can. Our soybean is ready, but we're going to be doing the harvest on that hopefully tomorrow. And then that leaves us, if we don't get the second cut done today, then that leaves us a couple of days to get the second cut done. Maybe even a third cut on half of the field. So we could still get quite a nice little bit of extra cash from silage bales, which would be nice. Again, that would give us a little bit more money to play about with at the end of the year. It certainly would help us in, changing our 6M over to a 6R. That extra cash would certainly come in handy in that respect. Because it's not going to be a cheap upgrade. The 6M is definitely the cheaper of the two. And ours is used now, has had nearly 22 hours put on it already. So its trading value is going to be significantly reduced against the cost of a brand new one. I'd say we'll be lucky to get half our money back, or half the money that the Hollisters paid for it back. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 6M. We could just keep on using this as is. But it is a little pricey. It is a little underpowered for some of the equipment that we've got. So... yeah, as I say, if we could swap it over for a 6R, to have a base horsepower of over 200, I think it is. I think it's 220 is the base horsepower of a 6R off the top of my head. That's already a huge increase on the max power of one of these 6Ms, and then fully tuned up. As I say, a 6R will go all the way up to 280 odd horsepower, which is enough to even pull our seeder. That's 2 separate tractors that can then pretty much run everything that we have on the farm without too much hassle. So that would be quite useful, give us a bit more flexibility. And of course we can also fit a front loader onto a 6R, so we wouldn't lose the front loader aspect from our farm. We would still have that option. And already now you can see the bales really starting to rack up on the field. still a fair bit more draw swathing to go. So I'll crack on with this and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Well, that's 50 bales that we've just knocked out there. That one there that's just gone through the back of the baler, that was number 50, and we've still got 7 rows plus this bit here to do. So I thought 60 to 70 would be a fairly optimistic kind of expectancy of how much we were going to get. I think it's going to be way more than that now. I think we could be potentially pushing close to 100. Well, not maybe 100, maybe sort of 80, maybe 90. Somewhere in that region. That's a lot of bales. It's going to take a while to get them stacked and loaded onto the trailer, so it might be that that's going to keep us busy for a lot longer than expected. We may possibly save the cut on the field 19 until after we've done the soybean harvest, and just once we've finally sorted out our bale work on this field, we can then look at maybe going off and doing a couple of delivery jobs for the locals again. We'll see how long it takes us to clear this field, but we're going to end up with more bales than I was expecting, I think, which means more time to collect them, more time to stack them on the trailer, more trips with the trailer potentially. We could be looking at now maybe 4 trips if we end up with more than 75 bales, which is becoming a distinct possibility. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. We're over the 70 bale mark. I've just dropped out bale number 71, and we still have another 4 rows to go. So yeah, 60 to 70 was definitely way off. It's going to be a lot more than that. Even if we only averaging 5 bales a row, that's still another 20 bales to add in, so that's 90. So we're looking now between 90 and 100 bales. That's a lot of bales, considering that we only did this kind of central section. God, can you imagine how many more bales we'd have ended up with if we'd done the entire field? That would be insane. It would take us longer to do, and it would be the entire day we'd just be stacking bales. It would be insane. So, still, if we go, say, with 100 bales, that's potentially quite a bit of cash. Quite a bit of cash indeed. And I realised, as I was talking earlier about the number of hours that we put on the 6M, I was actually looking at the hours down here. We're in the 6R, so these hours slightly different, obviously, to the 6M. But the 6M has still done, because I checked, 19.9 hours. So it's still done effectively 20 hours itself. So that's 42 hours across our 2 tractors. That's not too bad already. Our combine's got 5 hours on it. So a lot of work already gone through our small little fleet of machines here. Will we get enough to get a full bale? Oh, just look at that. Right at the very end, we just made another bale. Right, so let's get this thing unloaded. There we go. And this will go back to the store. We managed to time that just right as well, that we managed to get it all done without having to pay an extra hour's leasing, which is quite good. So we'll drop that there. We'll get that taken back to the store a little bit later. Let's collect our stacker. Now this is going to be a little bit fiddlier. Let's get it unfolded. There we go. Probably could have done with a bale bumper of some kind, but we'll see how we get on. This is going to take a little bit longer to do, to get all these lined up and stacked properly. We'll see if this thing's any easier to use than it was in previous incarnations as well, because it was a little bit fiddly to use in 17. It doesn't help when I clip the bale with the wheels like that. This is why a bumper would have been good. I don't know if we've actually got a bale bumper available to us on the market yet. I'm going to be stacking them in sort of groups, so we'll have some stacks of 3 sort of dotted all over the field in places. Yeah, this is the problem I remember. There we go. With it being awkward, that you would get to almost sort of perfectly loaded and then it just wouldn't quite go in. If we unload that just there, and then start stacking other lumps near that as well, it's going to be time consuming, but it will make for easier stacking onto the trailer. So yeah, we could have gone with the more expensive Arkisin auto stacker, but I didn't know how many bales we were going to get. Actually, how many did we get? Let's have a look. Oh, exactly 100 bales. Ooh, okay, so that is just a fraction over for working on the principle of 24 bales per trip. That's just over 4 loads. That's 4 and a bit. So it looks like possibly, depending on how many we have left over, so 24, 48, that's going to be 96. 4 bales left over. We might carry a stack of 4 bales on the forks in front of the final trailer to get all 100 of them sold off. I'll have to get in touch with the zoo as well, see if they want a load, and seeing as we have all this straw, makes sense that we see if they need any. So I'll start stacking all these bales up, and I will see you in a little while. This is definitely just as frustrating as I remember it being last time I used one of these, which is close to 2 years ago now. You've got to get it lined up just right. The slightest little issue with getting the bale lined up and it's just not going in. And you just clip it with your rear wheels, it spins it and it's not going in. This is definitely one of those jobs where more haste, it's less haste, more speed. If you take your time on your approach, get it lined up and take it slow, it'll be faster than just going up there reasonably fast and hoping it'll line up, because invariably it won't. And don't do this with wide tyres, because you'll leave yourself very little wiggle room on when you're getting side on with the bale. You just clip it with the rear wheel of your tractor and that's it. Bale's out of alignment and you're not getting in. It's been very frustrating. I've got a little bit better at it, and I suspect this is one of those bits of equipment that the more you use, the better you'll get at it. But excuse me, it's definitely a slow and frustrating piece of equipment to use, but a lot cheaper than leasing one of the larger auto stacks. And this is the other reason why I went with a square baler, because I figured we could probably run a little bit faster, because I like to run at 8 to 10 miles an hour when I'm doing my round baling, so I don't have to keep slamming the brakes on every few seconds for a full bale. And we have to keep stopping and starting and stopping and starting to unload the bale, let the baler close again before we can get going. So I figured a square baler, we'd get through the bales on this field much quicker. Unfortunately, this This is what has eaten up all that bonus time that we saved. It's now gone, thanks to awkward bales that just don't want to go in. I've had some bales that would go in quite easily. Other bales that I've spent 5 minutes trying to get a bale, you know, not even the same bale, but just desperately trying to get that third bale in the stacker. It took me 5 minutes earlier on to get one bale in this thing, because no matter which one I approached, I would clip it, or it just wouldn't line up, or it would suddenly get twisted and it wouldn't go in. Oh, it's just so frustrating. But I did toy with the idea of just giving up and switching, but I was already halfway through the field by that point. I figured, you know, it's just going to cost more money to switch out at this point, so I'll press on with a little 4-stack that we're using here. And to be fair, as I say, it's not too bad. It's one of those bits of equipment you definitely, I think, need to use a lot to get the best out of it in terms of practice. And you really got to be careful with your approaches. You've got to be very, very slow to go fast on this. You whiz up to the bales, you just, you know, if you're slightly off, if you're slow, you've still got a chance. If you're fast, you're going to knock it flying and you're not getting it. Or it's going to get wedged and you're going to have to try ever so, you know, just try and shake it loose so you can then discard it and go for another bale. There we go. How many have we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 3 and a bit more stacks. I've been stacking them in groups of 4, so 12 bales per sort of cluster, which should make it a little bit easier for loading the trailer. That's going to take a little while as well. And as I say, I wanted to do some manual stacking this series, because I did become overly reliant on using the auto load trailers on Lone Oak. So it's nice to kind of go back to doing some manual stacking like this. It's more time consuming, more challenging, but inevitably or invariably, you know, much more rewarding when you actually get it done. And I think 24 square bales on this, you know, on our trailer is probably only going to be realistically possible if we stack 4 high. I don't want to go that high because it just makes the trailer very unstable, and, you know, you take a corner just a little bit too fast and that's it, you're going over. Given how tight some of the turns are getting in and out of the farm and in and out of sell points, 3 high is as high as I wanted to go, which is why, again, we're using the 4-stack here rather than the Arcusin auto stack, which would have been really easy to get 16 bales lined up, and then we could just grab 4 at a time and get those on a trailer really quickly, but it would have made the trailer very unstable, and I just didn't want to run that risk of tipping over, because it would be much harder to right it if we did go over. So keeping it nice and controllable, a little bit more preferable, I think. Although I think we're probably only going to get maybe 18 bales per trailer, not 24. Might be off on my maths. We'll see. We'll see how many I can squeeze on there. I'm almost done with this field now. So I can just give this one a nudge. Just. If you nudge it a little bit too fast with your rear wheels as well, you're more likely to get it to flip onto its side rather than spin it round. There we go. Actually got a little bit easier to use towards the end here. What was it I was saying about the more you use it, the easier it gets? There we go. So, 1 bale on its own. We don't need to grab that and bring it back over. We'll just leave it there. Let's go collect our trailer. We'll bring that over. And then start stacking with the 6M. Okay then, let's start getting these bales stacked. This could be This could be good, this could be very bad. Time will tell how well this is going to go, but I'm hopeful that these stacks of 3 will be relatively easy to handle. We'll try and get lined up on them first of all. There we go, and they're certainly not going to be too heavy for our 6M, considering I've got that rear weight attached. Now, how many of these stacks can I get on my trailer comfortably? That's the next question. There we go, so that looks like we're lined up properly. Let's actually push it all the way to the back there. There we go, that's the first stack done. It's not normally that kind of slow, but it's been a while since I've stacked square bales like this, so just want to make sure I get back into the rhythm of doing it. Once again, it's one of those more haste, less speed situations. If you rush it, you make mistakes, and you have to restack the bales, and yeah, it's easier just to take your time and get back in the rhythm of things the first couple of times you do it. It definitely looks like this is going to take up pretty much our entire day. Well, maybe not the entire day, but most of the day. So we're not going to have time to do the cut today on field 19. That's fair enough. Tomorrow we're going to get the soybean done. So the day after that, we'll go back to field 19. And I'm hopeful that the grass will be grown enough that we'll actually be able to do a cut on the entire field. So it'll be a second cut for half of the field and a third cut for the other half of the field. So we could end up with quite a lot of bales. Where's my strap? There it is. And the other strap is right on the edge. All right, we'll get the next set on first. So if we do end up with a little bit of time left over at the end, which we probably will, then we'll look at going and doing a delivery job or two in the village. Maybe make an extra grand or two. Depends on how many jobs are available and what needs delivering, I suppose, as to how much money we could make. Some of them pay very well, but require either a lot of cargo or a long distance to go. Others less so. You know, we had one that only paid about 470 the other day. So some of the jobs will take some, will pay out well. Others will be a little bit less. But any extra cash is always a bonus. So I reckon I can get one more full stack and then probably 1 or 2 stacks squashed on the end as well. So that's going to be... it's going to be not many bales per stack, is it? It's going to be up per trailer. So that's going to be 12, 18, maybe 21 bales. And we might get 24 if we're lucky. I might be able to squeeze 2 more stacks on. It might hang off the edge of the trailer a little bit. We'll see how it looks. There we go. Ha, look at that. The tension strap is all the way up there. That's a bit weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Oh, it's because it's kind of gone through the middle of the stack there. That's why. Still, it looks a bit weird, doesn't it? The strap just sticking out like that. Alright, let's get some more bales on this. And then we can make our first delivery. And the zoo have asked for a trailer's worth of bales. So we'll get some straw tanked to the zoo. The rest will just sell off at the barn. And they'll be distributed amongst the local farmers that need them. So, will that be too much of a hang off the edge for another stack? It'll be tricky. But we might be able to get away with an extra stack. I might just, as I say, stack a couple of bales square on the end instead. That might be a safer way of doing it. And this stack here, you can see it's a little bit wonky. I actually had an issue unloading this one. I unloaded and then closed a little bit too soon, and it picked one of the bales up, and then I managed to drop them again and get them repositioned. But it did put the top two off angle with the bottom bale, so we'll just tidy that up just a touch. There we go. Excellent stuff. Slightly off angle as well, so that I can get these right up against the other bales, hopefully without clipping them with the frame of the forks. So I want to try and push that other stack forward a little bit if I can. There we go. It's a little bit wonky. Yeah, I don't know if I want to try and get 3 bales hanging off the end like that. I'm worried that the weight might cause them to tip. Let's have a look. Is this going to be feasible? It'd help if I got square on, wouldn't it? Might be able to get away with that little bit of overhang at the back. Yeah, it's not too bad. As long as we're careful, I think we can get away with that. So we can get 24 bales per trailer. So that's going to be, as I say, 4 trailers and then 4 bales left over, which we may well carry on the spikes at the front. I don't know. It's a bit. I might just load them on the top and have 1 stack of 4, or no, 4 stacks of 4 instead of 4 stacks of 3 part row on the trailer. So we can see we've got that. We're going to have 4 stacks along here, then just have 1 bale balancing in the middle on top of both stacks, all the way along the trailer for the final load. And then that would be a trailer of 28 bales. There we go. So we managed to get a slight overhang on the back there, but we managed to get 24 on the trailer. That's not too bad. That's a comfortable load. Let's get our engine on and our beacons as well. And off we go to Marwell Zoo to deliver 24 bales of straw. Well, that's the first sort of batch of bales sold. The zoo offered us a very handsome £6,888 pounds for those 24 bales. So we can get a similar sort of price for the rest of the bales. We're looking at what, 3 more loads at if we say, because obviously one of them's going to have an extra 4 bales, if we say £7 a load, we're looking at another 21 grand on our bales. That's not bad at all, is it? That's a nice little extra bit of cash. Who knows, maybe we could actually clear off that 50,000 debt today. Once all these straw bales are done, we could just drop another 25 in the bank. It would be very nice indeed. There we go. Oh, a bit of a wobble on the stack there. That was lucky. That could have been very bad indeed. But there we go. If I just pull up the finances, you can see 6,888 bales, pounds for the bales we sold at the zoo. Yesterday, the silage bales we sold totaled a whopping 60,500 in total, which was very nice because obviously we had a little bit of debt from running the harvester with a worker for a part of the day, and just we started about £1,800 overdrawn, I think it was. So combined sort of we finished up on about 54 at the end of the day, which was very nice. And then we put 25 in the bank, and then we leased the equipment and bought these claws and bought the pressure washer, which took us down to 17. We're back up to 20, fraction of the 24, aren't we? So yeah, by the end of the day, with the rest of the bales sold, I think I'll probably pay off another 25 grand and get that sort of compulsory 50 grand paid off. So we don't have to worry about that at the end of the year. It's done. And then any money that we do make, we can then make the choice. Do we chisel away at the loan a little bit, or do we just invest it all in the farm? We'll see financially where we end up, I suppose. That's going to be, I think, the best way to progress on that. Just see where we end up in terms of total money in once we've done that extra cut of silage bales and sold off our oats and our canola. The soybean's going to have to wait until next summer, because that's going to be the best time to sell it. Soybean is one of those crops that is a summer seller, so we won't be selling that for a little while unless we get an extremely valuable offer. That'll be being sold in the summer. So we're not going to have all of our crops going out in the next sort of month or so. It is going to be a case of just the oats and the canola being sold, and then whatever we get for the silage. That's going to determine what we spend and how much we'll have to spend. Maybe this soybean, when we sell that in the summer next year, that will pay for Anderson equipment perhaps. Depends how much it is going to cost us. So we're still waiting on a price list from the dealership. I think they're still negotiating how much it's going to cost them to buy the equipment in from Anderson Group, and obviously they're going to mark it up so that they can make a profit. So yeah, we're still waiting on an official price list from our dealership just down the road, and we should have that hopefully just before the equipment is available. Give us time to sort of plan in advance. It would be preferable if we could do that. There we go. So I will stack up the rest of these bales, get them sold off, and I'll catch up with you once those are all done. So our bale sales have been really good, actually. The last trailer, well, the second trailer, the first one that we sold at the barn, we got 7,000 for, just over 7,000, and then the second trailer we got just under 7,200 for. So this one, obviously this is going to have an extra 4 bales on top of that as well. I think we'll easily clear 8,000 for this one. These are the last 4 bales. I want to get these loaded on as best I can. I'm trying to spike them as high as I can as well, just to give me that little bit of extra reach with the forks. You can see the sun is starting to set just a little bit. We're getting some quite long shadows on the side here. So we might have to use our lights at some point soon. I am going to be looking to take on a delivery job once we're done delivering these bales. There is a job in the community, in the local community, in the village. Not sure what it is yet. I haven't got the full details, but I know that there is a job that is required. I've got to find out exactly what's needed to be delivered and where to. Yeah, I'm hoping for a good 8 grand of this trailer. There we go, one last bale to go. There we go. So we'll just rework the straps. There we go, and that's all of our bales strapped down there. So 28 bales with this final trailer load. Let's go take this back to the farm. Then we'll come back, grab the 7R and go and deliver these. Alright, let's see. Moment of truth. How much will we get? Okay, moment of truth time. How much will we get for 28 bales? Oh wow, looks like the price is taking a bit of a hit. Not surprised, considering how many we've sold today. Only 5.5 grand. Okay, it's a little bit of a disappointment, but even so, it still puts us on 43.5 grand, which is a very nice amount as you get our lights on. It's starting to get a little bit darker in these shadows here. And we'll make our way back to the farm. We'll clean up the 6M, swap out the spikes for pallet forks, and then we are off to pick up something from the Marwell Activity Centre, and it's actually something for the Hollisters. So if you remember, we had a failed delivery for the Hollisters. They had some damaged goods that they decided not to accept. Maybe this is actually the replacement delivery. Who knows? I mean, you would have thought they'd have had it by now, but or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something different. But this is where we'll be picking up from, just there, and that's where we'll be delivering to. So a short little run, but should pay a decent amount. So I'm expecting a couple of boxes. In fact, yeah, we can just see, look, There's a couple of pallets of boxes there, and it looks to be the same stuff that we tried and failed to deliver last time to the Hollisters. So maybe it is. Maybe it is the same products that they didn't have delivered. Maybe it's finally turned up again. Who knows? All we know is that we need to collect them and drop them off. So I will see you in a moment. There we go. There's our straw bales all nicely stacked in. It really does fit just perfectly in there, as you can see. They are squeezed right up. In fact, I want to show you just how tight that is. Look. Right up against the wall there. Right up against the bales. It really is tightly stacked all the way across, and it just fits in perfectly. The way that those are stacked. So I kind of don't want to disturb them now. It's almost... they almost look... a little bit like a work of art. I'm very proud of the way that they look, all nicely stacked up like that, but inevitably we are going to have to disturb the beauty of those bales at some point and actually, you know, use them. So let's go collect our pallets from the Marwell Centre. We'll take them over to the Hollisters. You can see we're sitting at 43.5. 25 of that is going to go into the bank a little bit later tonight. And then that will be our, you know, our mandatory 50,000 minimum loan payment done and dusted, and we won't have to worry about that later in the year. So we can then potentially pay a chunk of our loan off later this year when we sell our crops and when we do our second, well, I say our second, our next run of silage bales. Or we can choose not to. We can just hang on to the whole lot and reinvest everything. You know, we will have that choice because we'll have met our financial obligation for this year. I don't know. I don't know what to do yet. I may possibly put money in and then end up taking some of it back next year. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather either use it or just save it, but not sort of save then use again. We're still indicating, aren't we? Let's turn those off. Let's give these pallets a little nudge. There we go. Oops, turned a bit too far there. There we go. Excellent stuff. So, let's call in and see the Hollisters. I think the quickest and easiest way to do this actually is going to be to, rather than go back in through the farm and cut in that way, to go this way along the main road and then just pull in. Actually, no, I'm going to be let's go in through the farm way. It's going to be safer because we'll be able to actually see the traffic situation much easier, much more clearly. And we won't have to worry about turning against the traffic into the estate and then doubling back on ourselves. We'll go in this way. There we go. Just swing it into the estate here. And let's go find out where Mr. Hollister would like his goods delivered to. Not actually 100% certain if it's going to be... I think it might be in here actually. Yes, I can just see a sort of a drop-off point just in here. There we go. So again, they don't actually want to come off the forks very easily. There we go. Beautiful stuff. So we'll go let Mr. Hollister know his goods have arrived. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a nice payment for that. We're expecting somewhere in the region of about 950 quid, which would be quite nice. And then we'll be back to the farm and closing down for the night once I've taken the baler and the stacker back to the store. We don't need those anymore this year. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another episode of Marwell Manor, where we'll be attacking our soybean crop very soon.